Good morning, everybody. My name is Stella Morrison. It is a pleasure to be back in Minneapolis. This is a great city, and I'm really just happy to be back here. I own an agency called Canna Content. We have been in business in the cannabis industry since 2017. We are an award-winning woman-owned firm based in New Jersey. I live in Cleveland. We have been working mostly with new operators who want to basically roll out everything that they're looking to do. So we work on brand identity, search engine optimization is our specialty, web design development, and I love working with people who are trying to get their businesses off the ground. So I'm excited to talk to everyone today.
I'm Laura Hand at Laura Lou Experience Design. I hail from the great state of Iowa, a little south, but most of my family is from this area, and I love Minnesota, so it's been a really interesting and fun market to watch. I have my own agency as well. I'm a fractional chief marketing officer, so I come on a part-time basis and help businesses of all sizes kind of identify their brand strategy and their marketing strategy through the lens of customer experience design. So a lot of what I really hit hard at is the umbrella of customer experience design and how you're really trying to understand the people you serve and watch them during the entire kind of stage of their customer journey. And I'm also really passionate about cannabis travel and tourism. So I am a board member along with Mark Waller here for the Cannabis Travel Association International. And we just talk a lot about the nuance of creating great experiences. So if you're going to be doing consumption lounges or retail or events, it's something that differentiates you from others. And so it's just a fascinating topic.
Just a quick overview of what you're going to take away from today. We're going to speed run through 101 last year, so you have a bit of a foundation as we walk in. But I mean speed run, we only have 25 minutes. We're going to talk through why it's important to start your marketing even before you open, before you're ready to take clients, whatever that looks like. That's all going to be in here. We're going to talk a little bit about the differences between some of these tactics, touch on what's called owned media and earned media, how it applies to what you're doing now. We're going to talk through building your reputation and digital marketing tactics that help get the word out there as well. We're going to be centering all of this on a health and wellness, fitness-centered dispensary as part of the example. So we're going to take you through one line, and you'll see in practicality how these tactics, we're not just talking at you, we'll show you how they're actually executed in real life.
Okay, so part of the title was, what is the brand? And you have a brand. And so a lot of people think brand are like the marketing tactics and things that are out there, whereas your brand is really the story that people are telling about you. It's your why, it's the heart and passion. And I mean, guarantee everybody in this room has had to do so much work, to go through so many unknown hurdles to try to even get to opening or building up even your ancillary service, that it's just really hard to do that without a lot of passion, a lot of heart. And so it's just important to put that in your story. Your brand is the story that people tell about you, and it's important for your business, in order to have a brand, to know who you can best serve. And so that's knowing your desired target audience, and then know the impact that you want to make on their lives. This is a quick exercise. There's kind of an example here, and then a real life one on the next slide, but it's knowing your why. So this is just a good little ad-lib exercise that allows you to say, if it's about how, it's not about us, it's about them. So how do we actually measure that and think about that story? So it's how do we do a great job on our product or service? We will help these types of people feel these outcomes. This is a great anchor to be able to have when you're developing your marketing messaging, your brand story, the types of people that you're serving. So a good example would be, if we do a great job with cannabis delivery service, we will help busy moms and homebound patients like Natalie feel heard, catered to, and cared for with our simple and friendly buying process. So that allows your entire staff and your team and the people that you serve really get a good sense of what you're trying to do. And just like a business, every person within that is also their own personal brand. In this industry, more than any, I would say every person that you're interacting with when you are working with your company or people interfacing with your company need to recognize that they have an impact on what people say about you. So your bud tenders, from your delivery people, from your cultivation, you have to be thinking about your own personal brand and where you're at and what you're trying to say with it. It matters because people do business with people. And in this network, I'm sure you've all reached out to somebody. If somebody comes with an opportunity or some type of an assessment, you're going to go talk to 2 or 3 different people in your network to kind of verify. And so that is just so crucial that you are being, you've got integrity, you've built that trust and that credibility. A great way to do that is sharing content, coming to events like this and actually getting to know the people around you. And then speaking at conferences, webinars, podcasts, getting that story out. And like I said at the beginning, it's more than your visuals. So going beyond the logo, some of the visuals are the way that you are helping to articulate that story after you've thought about your why. So here's an example brand guide, kind of hard to see, but this is, in depth of colors and, what's the vibe that we're trying to create, the personality from our brand. So we're on these podcasts, we're doing social media, what is kind of the essence, and then having that customer persona built out, and then the brand elements, like how are you going to be represented on social media?
I hope you like our shuffle. So why does it matter to actually start your marketing now, even if you aren't going to be open in 6 months, in 12 months, in 3 months, whatever that looks like? First of all, it takes time for people to learn about you and who you are. It takes the internet time to learn about who you are. You don't just open your doors and magically people show up because you are selling weed. We are way past that as an industry in terms of our maturity. People need a reason and convincing. They need to know, first of all, they need to know you exist. They need to know why you exist. So pushing that narrative, taking time to get that narrative out there in the ways we're going to discuss is going to be key to helping you get the word out there, even if you don't have product to sell yet or a store to visit, whatever it looks like. It's also important to keep in mind that people learn in different ways. How many people are video watchers versus readers here? Who's a reader versus a video watcher? Prime example, right? So how do we create content? How do we take advantage of these mediums in order to reach people where they are and how they're operating? So keep that in mind. If you exhibit this behavior and you're doing it yourself, your customers are most likely doing that as well. And it's also important to remember that brand reputation also takes time to build. You don't just have a logo and things mysteriously and magically happen for you overnight. It's a marathon, it's not a sprint. It takes time, it takes different ways of connecting with people for people to remember who you are. On average, it takes multiple touch points. Every estimate is between 7 and 13 different touch points for people to remember who you are. And one of the tidbits that I love to give to people is you think about your brand 24/7, your customer does not, in the nicest way possible, right? They are looking for you when it's time to go buy weed, they ran out, or they are in need of tax services, accounting services, whatever that looks like. They are going to look for you at that time. So do you come to mind first when that time comes? And that's what I want you to be thinking about as you're doing some of this pre-opening work. And it also helps if you are in retail, particularly, we want to build a customer list pre-opening, right? So what that means is we have a list we want to get a list of people to market directly to. And one way to do that is by directing people through social media, through your website, to give up that holy grail of owned information, which is an email list, and just get them familiar with you, get them used to you talking to them. That could just be a quick, hey, here's an update on what's going on, and here's our opening date. This is what this looks like. That's all sort of inclusive in the why behind everything that we are doing here.
Okay, so getting into the things you actually can do, because we could go over a whole presentation of just what you can't do. We know the limitations. So you have to be creative. Just use those creative constraints. So as Stella was talking about, building those lists prior to opening. So we want to focus on things that can't be taken away. Social media can be taken down. Paid advertising is just not, it's expensive and it doesn't always work. So we want to focus on the things that are ours. You want to build that early audience so that you can have that built-in launch day traffic. You've got that word of mouth momentum. You've got the email list started because that's a great way for direct marketing. And then you've got that proof of demand for investors and partners too, because we know you're probably not doing this alone. You've got a lot of stakeholders that people report to. This is a great way to kind of show them that you are doing the work. So this is a great book. When we nerd out about our marketing, this is all the different ways or all different types of brand archetypes in cannabis. So everything from those that are focusing on charity, luxury, value, regional, and so on. Please check this book out. one of the archetypes that we're going to be focusing on today is the health and wellness. So health and wellness. So within the health and wellness, there are, of course, different types of people because the plant can serve so many depending on their kind of point of need or desire. So today we're going to be focusing on Matt. So he is a cannabis buyer and he is big into sports and fitness. And so looking at his kind of story there, what he's doing is he's visiting the gym, he's trying to stay focused, he wants great muscle recovery, and he wants to not be in pain and have good sleep optimization. So if this is the type of person that we're going after, then how do we as a brand just hone in our efforts so that we can really try to target and go deep with this type of customer? And the reason we're giving this kind of tunneled person to go after is the most common thing that we get is when we ask people who they're going to be going after, it's like, well, everybody. Well, I think that's real hard to do. Or the answer is we're just going to wait until we open and see who comes in the door, and then we'll know. It's like, oh man, think about all of what you're losing prior to opening up and building that momentum, plus the differentiation of experience. It is gonna get dense. There are gonna be a lot of worthy rivals out there. You've got to have a way that people know you that you are different. So today we're gonna be talking about some of the key things that we think are important, which is reputation building and digital marketing. So this is a paid, earned, owned, and social model. So us marketers use this because it gives us a chance of understanding all the different marketing channels and tactics in these broad Venn diagram. We all know, or you probably have found out, that the paid media is incredibly hard to do. Shared media is also incredibly hard to do with social media being shadow banned and so on. So that's why we want to focus on the earned media, which is PR and what people are telling about you in different publications and online, to your own, which is tools, channels that nobody can take away from you because they are yours. So getting into some real examples around Matt, our cannabis consumer for fitness and health, some of the things that you can be doing even pre-opening would be, and as an ancillary B2B, these are great opportunities to be able to do co-branding or just collaborating on these type of events. So community education, we've got like maybe an educational workshop series with topics like recovery and performance night. So you could be partnering with different people in your community, like sports trainers, physical therapists. You could even have somebody there be doing consults, just talking about recovery and sleep. Then some of the topics they're talking about was everything from mindfulness for mental game of golf to injury prevention. So it still gives you like a lot of autonomy in that umbrella of fitness and sports to be able to kind of know your market, know who's doing what and what's important, and then start building your RSVP list or your audience list by having people sign up or create a new community, which is your fitness community. Maybe you start a run club. Sponsorships are a great way of existing events that you can already go out and get your name, because it's all about just showing up and being seen. So some of those things could be 5Ks or walks. Pickleball is huge, so people are doing branded paddle boards. Rec sports, wellness expos, if you can go. Golf sponsorships are always great. And then through that, when you are going, it's not just putting your logo up in a banner, step repeat with a ton of other different brands. It's things like maybe you could have a tent there where you're doing sports recovery and having different types of products like topical to THC drinks, and then maybe having a coach there that's able to ask some different questions in a not threatening way. A good example is Miami is trying to get to be known as the wellness capital of the US, and they're kind of changing it from that party scene to a luxury fitness scene. And so this is an example of Diplo, a brand I worked with, L'Oreal, as a THC seltzer. They sponsored Diplo's run and post-rave. And so it's a great content. They were going to get Diplo on camera and do some crazy things. A couple other things would be community partnerships. So again, not just doing the sponsorships, but doing these co-branded events, community groups, whether it's nonprofits or working with physical therapists to add like credibility to what you're doing. And then those alliances, which would be like gym owners, nutritionists, the sports rehab. And then through that, what you're trying to do is essentially get people signed up. So you're starting to learn about them and their data. So if you are having people sign up for those registrations, it could be beyond their name and email. It could be asking, what types of sports and fitness activities are you into? What are some different modalities of cannabis that you're interested in trying or that you already consume? So that way you're already getting some information about your data, about your potential customers before the door is even open.
So how do we take this model, this IRL model, and move it into the internet? The reason we want to move it into the internet in the first place is because everybody, and I don't say that with any exaggeration, it's something like 98% of folks are Googling and looking for you online before they even think about stepping into any shop that you are operating, any brand they want to buy, any service they want to acquire. They're doing this. They are looking online. So we need to make sure that we are informing the internet about what you're doing. And how do we do that? We start with our website. No matter the platform, Google, ChatGPT, whatever it is, they are all going to cite your web, as of now, all going to cite your website first. It's the primary source of information. So we want to make sure that we are starting to build these bridges, which I'll talk about in a second. We want to build these bridges between, well, how does my brand insert whatever, well, we're going to use the health and wellness example here. How is my brand associated with this health and wellness, and how do I start building those connections? So think about doing things like listing the partners on your website, or having an area of your website where you list your events. We also want to make sure we have dedicated places for ongoing initiatives on your website. If there is something that you do regularly, is there a page for it? Is there blog content about it? We want to make sure we are reflecting that so that way people and search engines both understand precisely what you're trying to do and how you're trying to do it. And your tech stack is going to make a difference here as well. So I left this a little more vague because I wasn't sure if there'd be mostly retailers in the room, but this is going to come back to your point of sale and or your loyalty program, whatever you're using. How are we capturing emails and contact information at these events? How are you getting people to opt in, and where's that information going? We don't want to put out a sign-in sheet that somebody writes down. That is prime way to accidentally copy over something wrong, to lose the sheet. So many things can go wrong. You can get them straight to your system. How are you incentivizing folks to sign them up? And make it easy for them to opt in, right? Is that a QR code? Is that a form? Is that an iPad at a table at one of these wellness fairs that you're exhibiting? Make it super simple for them to sign up for emails and get them into your email newsletter, your loyalty program, whatever that looks like. Get them in. So for social media and content marketing, we want to make sure that we're taking the message, compliantly as best we can into all of these different platforms. So this is an example from one of our clients, the travel agency in New York City. They partner with an influencer who has a running club in Brooklyn called Rage and Release. And so we made sure that there was fitness related content on the blog. We have several examples of this, of, what, just kind of explaining, the why and the what behind it. And the influencer was using, taking that messaging to his own platforms as well as part of his own branding. So we wanted to make sure that we are at all these touch points. If people are, some people get all their news from Instagram. Some people are reading the blog. Search engines are looking at both. So we wanted to maximize that and also create this uniting presence, because as Laura was talking about before, with the different circles, that chart you saw before, there are multiple touch points that people are going to find you. And this just opened up with the same theme, 2 other ways that you can be reaching people while enforcing your brand identity and who you want to be reaching, which is that health and wellness audience that we're using in this example. So for search engine optimization, one of the most important tactics is we basically build, think of them like little bridges between your website and cannabis and health and wellness, and start to make these associations online. So we want to make sure we're aligning sites with the target audience. So this is another example of a client of ours in New Jersey called Blue Oak Dispensary, and they did a lot of partnerships with golf courses. So they would come and they would table at this golf course. And so we had a bunch of Father's Day content around golf, and also just a very straightforward SEO piece about the golf clubs you can go to in New Jersey. Same with Pilates in their hometown. So that's a good, clear target that audience as well. So this is one other additional way that we are building those bridges to that health and wellness audience we're using in this example. And just to reiterate some of the things we're talking about email and SMS marketing, well, text, push notifications, whatever you choose to use. So think about taking this health and wellness content and turning it into an educational series that you can also push in email. Some people are really avid email readers, talking about all the different ways people consume information. That's another easy way to just remind them you're there, because remember, they're not thinking about you 24/7 the way that you're thinking about your brand 24/7. So how can we remind them that you're there? They get an email. They're on your email list. They get an email every couple of weeks, whatever that looks like, weekly, whatever your program looks like. And they're going to remember, just keep in mind, by the way, next time you want to buy weed, or next time you want to, come buy this brand or come to this store, right? Paid advertising, which, is limited, but there are options, compliant options outside of just some traditional avenues. This might be a time to start targeting by profile, fitness enthusiasts who are 21 plus you're trying to attract. And you're doing something really cool with this initiative, right? How many people can say that their brand was sipped by Diplo at his run and rave event, right? You're doing something cool. Let's take advantage of that earned media, right? So whether you're working with a PR firm or you are doing this like a DIY style, make sure that you're getting the word out there. Make sure you are looking for that local media and contacting them, making sure that they know what's going on too. That creates another touch point, creates another place on the internet for you to build that digital bridge I was talking about, and hopefully gets in front of more eyeballs. This is just a visual representation of everything we talked about. I'm going to do a 5-second countdown if you want to take a picture, and then I'm going to hit the next button. I will not do my best Jeopardy countdown, but thank you very much. We got it. All right. Okay, so as we're going into this, thank you. The essential marketing tools that you're going to need. This was from our 101 presentation, but we repurposed it here because it is incredibly important. A lot of folks, when they start running for their license or their brand and start building, these little things, not even little things, they can fall by the wayside. So we want to remind you, this is what it's all about. So make sure that once you have your brand name, make sure you get the website URL, make sure you buy that. Even if you don't have a website yet, just park it. Make sure that no one else can take it. Your social media handles, same idea. Don't forget your SEO. We do recommend that dispensary websites launch about 2 to 3 months before opening. That's their recommendation usually. Just that sweet spot of where we can start getting some traffic going before, without confusing people thinking that you're open, because it has happened to me before where folks think that the dispensary is open because there was a mistake on a Google business profile or something, and they think the dispensary is open. That can happen. And then they get disappointed, and we don't want to start off on the wrong foot. So we want to do this deliberately, but we want to get this started. We want to think about the tech that you're using, because it is a pain to switch platforms once you are committed to one. So a lot of point of sale systems do have loyalty. You might want to opt for a separate loyalty program, e-commerce menu program. There's a lot of options out there. And the data organization becomes important, because if we have data in different systems and they're not talking to each other, we can miss out on really valuable insights about, well, who are the customers who are actually opening my emails? Who are the customers that are actually coming to shop in the stores? You'll be surprised that I can't tell you how many folks I talk to who intend on opening, and they're like, we want to target like people in their 20s, want to this cool place, and their target and the large majority of their shoppers end up being 55 plus. So it's the data tells it all, and who's coming, and then you make sure that you're pivoting to that if that's what's working for you. And then just a brief overview, we want to think about the 5 Ps of marketing here, just something to kind of keep you grounded, because there's a lot of places that you can take your marketing. Keep yourself grounded. Think about these 5 Ps, right? People, who are we talking to? Is this initiative talking to the people you want to be talking to? Product, do you carry the product? Do you have the service that's going to best meet their needs? Pricing, how much are you charging? Is your brand a premium option? Is it an opening price point option? Are you Chanel or are you Walmart? We want to think about place, right? Where are customers going to learn more about you? And that's where we talked about the importance of SEO, social media to the extent that we can do it, email marketing, earned media, things like that. That's where that all comes into play. And then also promotion. How are you communicating so to your customers? Yes, you have a great idea, but is it practical for you to be pushing that model? Because it all goes down to, how do you know what to do? And I'm going to let Laura take it from here.
So it's kind of a recap as well, but you've got to know who your audience is and where they hang out. And so if whether you're starting broad or going specific, is be where they are. And that's just not you as a business owner, but your staff. If they are passionate about sports and racing, like they should be in the community and be, essentially your brand ambassador. And then use your brand as an anchor. So you are going to be hit every day with ideas and the idea fairy, where people are going to come in and be like, I think we should do this. I think we should do this. I think we should do this. And it's really hard to be constantly pivoting, because if you're chasing many rabbits, you catch none. And so be thinking about, when you are going to that brand story and who you're serving, use that as your decision tree. Like, does this new thing or new product or new idea help this audience or not? And at least gives you a decision or a place of conversation.
Hope you like our dancing. If you are chasing many rabbits, you catch none. I'm stealing that. I love that. So this is where your infrastructure is going to become important. We want to have an understanding of who will do what. Some folks are DIYing everything before opening or pre-revenue. Some folks hire marketing agencies, PR firms, fractional CMOs. Some people hire them before they get started. That's all going to depend on what you're doing. But if you are very ambitious, but no one is there to execute, that's where things can get risky. So you want to be realistic, right? Who is actually going to do what? Is there someone in your company who's going to do this for you? Is this someone you have to hire? Is this someone who you can collaborate with, right? So have that understanding, because great ideas are great. If you can't move on, they're just ideas, right? They just sit there. You don't have to do it all on your own. There are options aside from simply just try to do it all yourself. You can prioritize, what makes sense for me to take on, what makes sense for somebody else to take on. So that's something that, we do. We're working with folks and trying to figure out what makes the most sense for you to be investing in pre-opening. And then, I think we need to accept some level of experimentation, especially if you're brand new. It is okay if something doesn't work. You should give it time. We don't think results don't happen in a day, but give it 90 days. You might need to give an ad program 3 months or an email program 3 months, and then say, oh, this is the data coming back. What does it mean? And what does this mean for me? And what can I be doing with it? So it's okay to experiment and it's okay to pivot, but that's all going to be a part of, there are some tactics that are incredibly important that we talked about: getting brand right, getting your website right, getting SEO done right. But everything else that you're working on, it's okay to experiment, because you might actually stumble upon something that's incredibly effective and really helps you stand apart from the guy a mile down the road.